All right, I got a Fibonacci story for you. Well, I got two. One is I need somebody to research this tree. It's a white tree. See that? They're in Pagosa, and if you look closely, you can see that they actually have they look like they have eyebrows or kind of a lens. And what it is whenever they shed a branch, that comes off and it leaves the shape of an eye. So let's talk about eyes, and let's talk about, I don't know, I had my first Oklahoma meets Colorado moment. Check this out. I'm going to talk a little bit about fear. You know, I'm always reading some sort of spiritual book and 12-step book or some book that talks about fear and overcoming fear, and you know, no matter what spiritual development path you take or you choose to take or not take, on some level it comes down to fear and love. I mean, those are the dominant themes: fear and love, fear and love. And so let me show you. You know, I saw this. You know, my first inclination is you see a cable and you're like, first I thought, well, that's probably a ski line or a support or something for a ski lift. And see, I don't know, because see, I only learned to ski last year when I was 39. So I'm watching this. I'm using this as a metaphor for fear. And naturally I thought, well, let me just, it looks like a bridge down there, and maybe I could, you know, is that really a bridge? And I thought, and right when I almost touched it, I went, holy shit, that could be a power line. Fibonacci go hala nega none. And so I paused, I stopped. And the fact is I just don't know. And you know, for some people who are from here, who've hiked these woods maybe their whole life, you know, they'll watch this and they'll laugh and they're like, oh, who's this guy from Oklahoma or Texas? He has Texas plates, and what the fuck is he doing making these spiritual videos and using this as a metaphor? I'm like, well, another part of the story is I have a scar on the back of my right leg that runs about mid-thigh all the way down to my top of my calf. And it's because when I was a kid, somebody turned on an electric fence, and you know, you're a little kid. I grew up kind of without a family or without a dad. And so in my world, touching an electric fence meant death. It didn't mean shock, it meant death. And so I was over at my friend's house in Duncan, Oklahoma, kind of out in the woods. And our woods weren't as beautiful as this. Our woods looked more like just endless amounts of this. And so my friend, she didn't want me to go on her property because, you know, anyway, she's kind of one of those bitchy, mean girls. And my brother was good friends with her neighbor. That's why I was over there, blah, blah. And so she turned her electric fence on, and I thought, you know, if you touch an electric fence, you're gonna die. So I walked completely around her property to avoid the electric fence. And when I climbed the barbed wire fence, I fell over it upside down, and that barbed wire cut my leg completely, boom to boom. And you know, of course, I'm like maybe, you know, 8, 9, 10, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 10, 11. I mean, I was young. So that scar that maybe today it still runs down my leg, and I've grown. So you can imagine what that was like. I remember running into my brother's friend's house and just going straight to the bathtub, and the blood came up to about I remember splashing in the blood. That's how much my leg was bleeding. Of course, my stepfather he was a pharmacist, and he was from a different part of the country, I think Malaysia, Pakistan, we don't know. And so for the idea for him to take me to the hospital to get stitches was a complete waste of money. My mother usually concurred with him, and so now I have just the story. Wait, you have the story, and I'll let you put your own perspective on it. The fact is I didn't touch that because I don't know if it's an electric fence that I would, you know, that's providing power to that city, or if it's just, I don't know. And that's a spiritual fractal. You're like, I was with you until you did that spiritual fractal shit. I kind of got the metaphor of how like sometimes limitations can jump in there and they become like patterns. And even when you're fucking 40, I mean, so you can't even, so what you're doing here is that became a pattern in which you grew up, but that pattern never left you. So holy shit, then you said fractal math. What the fuck? Huh? Yeah, I just say holla.